Okay, hi everyone. This is SmithyQ, SmithyQ.com, and I'm back with some video analysis. And this is the game that essentially put me on tilt. This is a classical time-controlled game. As you can see, I was nearly 2,000 rated. My rating is still provisional, so it fluctuates with every game. My opponent was just about 1,700, and I had a completely massive position. But then I had two different instances of chess blindness where I don't know what I was thinking, and I completely spoil a ridiculously dominant position. So let's take a look. So I was white. Again, I open e4, almost as always, e5, knight f3, standard stuff. And then I played my scotch, d4, which is my favorite opening, and it's, I'm going to show you why, actually. Look at this. Take, mainline scotch, and then you'll be amazed how often you see something like this. Or some other random move. And white gets instantly, after queen takes d4, I mean, you've got everything you want. You got easy development, you're ahead with the queen. And many people, they think the queen's a target, but there's no knight, to hit the queen. And without the knight, it's not easy. And then I see, especially below 1600, a lot of people playing c5. I sometimes see people play b6, and then bishop c5, and then I can just play queen d5, hitting the rook. I mean, there's so many weird things. People don't seem to be open for the scotch, and then you get really good positions, and then you get really easy middle games, and you're more likely to capitalize on blunders that way. And this is exactly what happens in this game. My opponent plays d6, which is a random move. I play knight c3. Look how easy my development is. Then he plays knight e7. Now look at this. Black is going to move his knight 2 times to try and win a tempi on my queen. So moving a piece twice to win, which is 2 moves, 2 tempi, to hit my queen, to make it move once, 1 tempi, that's not a good trade. But you see ideas like this so often. So anyway, I just developed my bishop. So once he hits my my knight, I could either move my queen all the way back to one of these squares. That is perfectly possible. But I did something different. I played bishop b5, and then after bishop d7, take. And then I castled. And we reached, essentially, a souped-up version of my even more favorite opening, if that makes sense. Just take a look at this. All right. Now compare this with the open Philidor. So the open Philidor is d6, and then d4, take, and then instead of taking with the knight, I take with the queen. This is by far my preferred move here. And then knight, he attacks the queen, I pin the knight, take it. Now look at this position. We'll let black castle as well. And so it's true that black has the bishop pair, but he's very, very cramped. All of his pieces are stuck on the 3rd rank, whereas white has a huge space advantage. We're going to play rook e1. Let's put it on the board. Our pieces are absolutely dominant. It's very hard for white to make a mistake in these types of positions. And we have 2 plans. Either advance in the center with knight d5 and e5, or we could advance on the king side with some combination of eventually h4, g4, push the pawns. And this is especially common if black plays h6, because then we can just move the bishop, we can do a pawn storm, or we can attack it. We can do anything. Right? We just got a very good position. Now compare this. I'll back up 2 moves. 2 castle. All right, take a look. Now look what we have in the game. Let's do that one more time, because this really highlights this. All right? And so it's pretty much the same position for white. My bishop is on f4. It's still developed. I don't have a knight. And black has 1 piece developed. Notice how he can never actually play bishop e7, because all of a sudden queen takes g7 is in the cards, and then his king's going to suck. And so the only thing, and then right here, I got a premonition. I knew what my opponent was going to do. He was going to play queen d7, he's going to castle queenside, because he can't castle kingside. And he'd be scared of castling kingside, even if he could, even if this pawn were protected, because he'd be scared of my attack, with my pieces, if I could draw straight arrows, coming in. I just sensed that. And sure enough, he plays queen d7. I play rook e1, and then he castles. Which is simply a blunder, because I'm able to take a free pawn, and this should have been game. And well, it kind of was game. I mean, again, I had a hugely good position, but I just throw it away. So let's take a look at what happened. My opponent plays queen g4, attacks my bishop, attacks my pawn, so I bring it back. My opponent, he tries to develop peace. That's great. I jump my knight in. Like my position plays itself. He checks me randomly. Okay, I move. And then he played this. So with the idea, of course, is that he wants to play h4, hit my bishop, and my bishop has to do something. But even this is like the world's worst threat. Because even if I did nothing, like I move my king, and he attacks my bishop, I could play f3 or h3. Let's play f3. His queen has to move somewhere. Not a lot of squares to the queen. Let's go here. And then my bishop would have a free move. And so this is a threat without a threat. This is absolutely nothing. But I wasn't thinking at the time. I got kind of into this... I got into this mindset of that I'm winning. Which is, a huge... very, very dangerous thing. Incredibly dangerous thing to do. To say that you're winning. Because that's when you start making bad moves. And so I thought that I was winning, and so I thought I should stop any possible counterplay he might have. Which is the right idea. You want to stop counterplay. But then I played this funky move, h4. And for some reason, I thought he had to move his bishop back. Right? If he moves it here, then it's away from the king side. If he moves it, you know, here or here, I can take it with my knight. And I guess he can't move it there, right? Go here, he ruins his pawn structure. Here is out of play, and I'm going to get my attack on the king. But he can just take it. For some reason, I didn't see that. No idea. No idea. In fact, I didn't even see he could take it until he took it. So I'm not sure if like my brain was on a vacation. And then after take, I played f3 to defend my pawn, even though it didn't really need defending. Not really the great move. And so now, this game's no longer clear at all. Material is equal, so I've lost my main advantage. I'm attacking this king, but I've only really got my queen nearby. Okay, the knight is well, but the knight can be taken at any point. And I don't have the extra pawn. With the extra pawn, I could throw everything at the king. He would trade pieces, then I win in the endgame. Here, it's not so clear. Okay. He then plays king d7. Trying to run away. But more likely, he's simply trying to get his rook over here, so that way he could try to attack. Because this is the sense I got from my opponent, is this is the only thing that he could really think of how to do. He wasn't able to consolidate, he was making, trying to make threats. This is a pretty easy threat to stop. So I simply centralize my queen, queen d4, I'm hitting a pawn, hitting everything. He plays f6, and then it's kind of irritating how hard it is to break through here. No sacrifices work. I thought, actually, that knight takes c7 was going to win. But I missed that the rook here. I mean, if he had no rook, yeah, okay, this looks really, really promising. But with the rook there, I just gave away my knight for nothing. So now I got to think of something else. So f6 weakens some of these squares over here, so I try and invade over there. I bring my knight back. He moves his queen over. Then I bring my queen over. And so again, by moving f6, he's weakened all of these light squares, and so that's exactly what I'm going to target. So my queen's coming in here, my knight wants to jump in, and maybe my could bring the rooks over, and this is the general plan. He plays queen e5, so I bring the knight in, I attack g7, he defends it with a weird move, that lets my queen come in, but notice how he can't block with the queen because of the knight, that's why you bring the knight in first. So he moves the king. I gotta figure out what to do. And how long did I spend on this move? Okay, it says only 10 seconds, but that's 15-second intermission. It's about 30 seconds. thinking. Notice also the huge time discrepancy here. I've got 5 minutes left, and my opponent has, hold on, so he has twice as much time. So I came with the check. He moved his king. I took the pawn. He took back. Now what? Well, his king side is incredibly weak, and so now let's get the last idea in. We'll move the rook up, and then we can check. We can bring the other rook over, and we'll check. Maybe we'll imagine those arrows are different, right? And then he's going to be dead, right? So let's start that. I move the rook up. He moves the king back. Move the rook over. I'm threatening check. He brings the queen all the way back. And this is the moment. Now, yes, I know that my queen is right there, and clearly he wants to exchange queens. Right? Something like this, and then he's probably fine. I probably have the advantage in the endgame, but maybe these pawns are fast. And why on earth would I trade off into an endgame in this position where his king is so bare? I still can't believe I played the next move. And so here's what happened. If I could get my queen on this diagonal, that's check. It's going to move him over, and then I'll be able to checkmate him on those 2 files. So that's the idea. Check him, move the king over, bring the rooks in. That's mate. I can't. Let me just leave these arrows. Come on. I can't get my queen here or here. That just hangs it. F5 looks really, really good. And so I said, okay, I'll go to queen G6 here. I hit the rook. The rook has to move somewhere. Then I'll go queen F5 check. He's going to move the queen. And then I come in with this fairy tale attack, and that's game over. And you know what? All that's true. All of that is completely true if he had to move the rook. But he doesn't. He could take my queen. Completely unbelievable. I just threw the queen away. And then I resigned, because that's just the silliest thing ever. Wow. Complete, utter blindness. And so the mistake, what was the mistake? Right? What was the problem? And besides like pure ineptitude, like blindness, literally this is a case of tunnel vision to the extreme. Is where I saw this undefended rook. Right? Let me color it red. And then my thought process simply went, attack the rook, he moves it, and that was it. Nothing else. Even though queen g6 throws the queen away. What should I have done instead? Okay. Moving the queen back. That's okay. That's possible. Then the king moves up. All right. Something like this. I'm going to invade here. He could try to move the king some more. This attack is winning. That's possible. The computer suggests an even better move is to start with rook a8. This will lead to forced mate. After this lovely move. Take. Now the rook will come in. And we can see that the black king is simply defenseless to the threats here. And so, that's that. And what a terrible game. Terrible. And again, so this game, which I had well in hand, I wasn't worried about anything. Even when I threw away the pawn, whoops, well, at least I still got a good position. I'm going to outplay him because I'm the better player. All right, let's back up. Right here. Whoops, I just hung a pawn. That's okay. Again, I've got a good position. I've got a dominant knight. And I outplayed him for the rest of the game. Until I threw my queen away. And so what this did is this threw me down an incredibly bad spiral where I said, I have to play another game. This can't be my only game. unfortunately, my mindset was so, oh, I can't believe I hung a queen, that my next game was pretty poor. And I'm thinking, damn, I just made 2 bad games in a row. So I played another game, which was even worse. And then I played a 4th game, which thankfully I won after like 2 hours of playing chess. And it just getting worse and worse and worse. And I just gotta say no. The problem was it was the weekend, and so I had all this free time. Anyway, that's that. And so, for me, so again, takeaway. The main takeaway for me is don't hang the queen, right? That's it. But notice, again, the thought process behind the blunder. Why the blunder happened, okay? It's not, you can't just say chess blindness. The blunder happened because rook, queen. I was so focused on my plans. That was it. Attack, tack, mate, that's it. I was living in fantasy land. Right? Didn't even consider his moves. His other possible moves. What can he attack? The most basic. What is his threat? The most basic question. And back here as well. Okay? Yeah, I hung a pawn randomly. Right? And I didn't see it. And that's true. But where did this blunder come from? Is that he played this h5, which again isn't even a threat. It's just a yucky move. I can do anything and keep going. And I switched my thought process to how do I stop him? When, okay, yeah, you want to know what your opponent's threat is. But then you also have to ask, is it a good one? Do I care about it? If it's not a good idea, I can just do my own thing. And that was perfectly possible. But I didn't. And so, and in both cases, I thought I was winning. That's the common denominator. In my head, I said I'm winning, and so I changed my thought process because I didn't need to try so hard, did I? Because I'm already winning. The game's in the bag. And that's when you blunder. That's when I blunder. And so I need to be extra vigilant about that. Normally, I don't say I'm winning in my head. I say, okay, I'm doing well. I've got the advantage. Because when I think that way, I make less blunders. But here, this is it. So, what I did here, that's what you need to do in your own games. When you blunder, don't just say, it was a blunder, I didn't see it. Right? Dig deep. Why did that happen? Because very often, there is a common theme among our blunders. There's a common reason. For me, in this game, it was thinking I'm winning, and I relaxed. And I wasn't as sharp as I needed to be. And in the next few games, which I'll analyze as well, it was because I was tilted beyond belief. And again, my thought process was completely different. But that's that. Again, I'm true to my word. I'm going to analyze all these games that I lose. And I'm going to dig deep. So, like, subscribe, do all that stuff if you really want. Comments, feedback. I love talking about chess. So if you have anything you want to see or found this helpful or whatever, drop it down below. Within the next week, I'll have all these games annotated and analyzed on my blog, so you can check that out at SmithyQ.com. Otherwise, that's it. So, thanks for coming, everyone. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.